Hello, MGT3800 students. Information regarding your final project is now available on your As You Learn page. Please scroll to the bottom of the page. You will see the Global Insight Report category. The guidelines are located here, and you will submit your final project here as a Word document. In this assignment, you will have an opportunity to apply course material to a fictitious but real-life based scenario. Imagine that Chipotle is considering expanding and locating restaurants in Turkey. In this final project, you are required to apply course material and respond to 4 distinct questions about the possibility of Chipotle entering the Turkish market. Please make sure to base your answers on course material. If you are using any outside sources, you must cite your sources. I strongly discourage you from using Google to find answers to your questions. These are usually incorrect and result in lower performance. In the first question, you are asked to think about 3 cultural differences between Turkey and the US that the company would have to consider when expanding into the Turkish market. Culture is discussed in Chapter 2. Please make sure to discuss 3 distinct cultural dimensions along which the 2 countries differ. Explain what the cultural dimensions are, how the countries differ on those dimensions, and what implications that might have for how Chipotle chose to enter the country, how it chose to manage employees, managers, and so on. In question 2, you are asked to consider 2 variables from the institutional environment. The institutional environment is discussed in Chapter 3. In this question, you can think about things like the educational institutions in Turkey, dominant religion in the country, the economic system, stage of economic development, government intervention in the form of economic freedom or ease of doing business. All of these variables were discussed in Chapter 3. Please just pick 2, one that applies to the institutional environment like education system or dominant religion, and one that applies to the business environment like stage of economic development, dominant economic system, or ease of doing business, and explain how those might impact Chipotle's ability to succeed in Turkey. In the third question, you are asked to make a recommendation regarding what multinational strategy Chipotle should employ and what mode of entry Chipotle should use. In terms of multinational strategy, those are discussed in Chapter 6. The chapter discusses the transnational, the international, the regional, and the multi-domestic. You are to pick one of these 4 strategies and explain why you think this is the best strategy for Chipotle to employ in their entry of the Turkish market. In the second part of this question, you are to recommend a mode of entry. Different modes of entry discussed in this class are exporting, both direct and indirect, international franchising, joint ventures, foreign direct investment, and others. Pick one mode of entry and support your recommendation of that mode of entry for Chipotle. In the last question, please make 2 additional recommendations that Chipotle needs to consider that have not yet been discussed in questions 1, 2, or 3. Please, again, do not use Google for this question. In the past, students have often used Google, resulting in questions like xenophobia and decentralization, which don't really apply to this concept. I encourage you to avoid using Google and rely on course material. There is more than enough in your course that could apply. For example, if in question 2 you chose to discuss the educational environment, you can discuss a different institutional environment, for example, the dominant religion, in question 4. So please, in question 4, make 2 additional recommendations for Chipotle that were not yet discussed in previous questions. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions about the assignment. Make sure to follow the format guidelines. The format guidelines indicate that this should be submitted as a Word document. PDF will not be accepted. Make sure that you use 12-point font, Times New Roman, double-spaced documents. Also note the page limitation. You are to answer these 4 questions in up to 5 pages. No more than 5 pages, please. There's no need to restate the question. Just use a number and your answer. Make sure to include your name somewhere on the document, and make sure that you use proper grammar, spelling, and formatting. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. I'll be more than happy to get on a Zoom and assist you in any way possible.